Hello and welcome. This is Jo from Creative Empowerment, and I am going through my Oracle and Tarot collection. I decided to make this video into 3 sections. This is my Tarot and Oracle that I use in readings. The next 2 videos, one is all about mostly Oracle cards that I use for personal use, and then the last one is a group of Oracle and Tarot that I have in my collection that I really need to look at why I still have it. So what is it we're going to look at? We're going to look at the ones that I use all the time for readings, which is the ones that you can see in front of you. And then I'm going to go through the Oracle cards and other cards that I keep because I do use them periodically. Then I've got another group which I still use but rarely. Then I've got some that are sentimental and that I want to keep. And then I've got another group which I probably really need to look at to see whether I get rid of them. So if you're interested, get settled and let's go through them. So this first group are the ones that I read with all the time. And you'll see some very familiar favorites here. As you can see, the Radiant Rider-Waite here. I have a traditional Rider-Waite, which I don't use all the time. Universal Rider-Waite. I had to go and find out which one it was because I couldn't remember because I have it in a cover that, you know, is not the original one. So as you can see, it is well used. I use it quite often, but not as much as I used to, you know, go through phases. So at the moment, my sort of go-to one is more this Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, which similarly to the one I just showed you, has got lighter versions of the traditional Rider-Waite. And I find that both of these are really good ones to read with. This one, you know, is higher key in colour. It's got a bit of a more optimistic feel, I suppose. So if you're looking at getting a beginner's tarot, this is a great beginner's tarot because it's nice and bright and light, and you know, it doesn't have the same feel as some of the traditional ones, which I do have a set, but I've given them to my daughter. My next very worn one is the Everyday Witch Tarot, and I absolutely love this one for my readings. It is updated modern imagery. It is all witch themed. It is a really great take and a light take again on Rider-Waite Tarot. I find it really easy to use. I find that I get drawn into the pictures very easily. I find there's a lot for me to say and, you know, delve into traditional tarot imagery. I find it a really easy deck to use. And I find that in my readings, it's just very relatable to modern life, I suppose, is the best way of saying it. The next deck that I use all the time is the Light Seers Tarot by Anne. And you will, I think I've done a video of this. If I haven't, I've definitely used it for some of the spread videos that I've made. If you want to see them, check those out. I'm sure most of you have seen the Light Seers Tarot. It's a modern, updated version of the tarot. Again, you know, using the Rider-Waite system, really bright, colourful imagery that just gets you involved in what you're reading about. I find it so relatable to modern life. It is quite a big, thick deck, so that's something to think about. And I need to keep think about how I say the word deck because someone commented on that in one of my older videos, and you know, I suppose that's my Australian accent. So here we're dealing with all of the decks that I read with. Again, I have another tarot deck that I use quite frequently in my readings with people, and it is the Tarot of the Mystical Moments by Katrin Wells Stein. And I love this particular deck. It is so beautiful. The imagery is just amazing. I'm going to take half of it, so because it's, again, this is quite a chunky deck. Now, if you do own this deck or if you want to look at this deck, it does have all females except for a few males, and you get given some extra cards that are male kings and you get female kings. So it's quite an interesting deck that way, working with different male, masculine and feminine themes. And there's the King of Swords. There's one of the ones I was talking about. And it's very playful imagery. It's quite, and there's another King of Pentacles. It's reimagined, and there's another King of Swords. So you can see there's a masculine one. It is quite a different deck, and one that I don't use all the time, and it kind of comes out when it's appropriate, I suppose, when I'm in the mood for this type of imagery. But it is so beautiful. The imagery, I just really love it, and gives an extra dimension to a reading, because it opens you up a bit more, you know, whichever clair you're the strongest with, because it's sort of igniting your imagination. This one here is a newer deck of mine. It is the Child Tarot, and this is Christine DeLuca. She's the Firefly Tarot on YouTube, and I really like her channel. Watched it for a long time, and when she made these, I thought to myself, I don't have any child-based tarot that works with the inner child as the theme, so I liked this idea of getting these ones. And they're very playful. As you can see, they're really bright and simple, and I don't use them all the time, but I do like reading with these, and it always surprises me, and I shouldn't be surprised when things synchronistically fall into place, is that, you know, when I start using these cards, I always find that there's a reason. There's you know, there's a childhood maybe trauma, or there's an issue that dates back to childhood, or the person needs to see it in a really simplistic way, to help them unpack whatever it is that we're working on during the reading. So they're really simple but lovely. Yeah, one more that I use frequently, and that is Tarot of the Divine. I think you can see that over the back there. It is by Yoshi Yoshitani, and I'm going to take half of this deck again because my hands are quite small, and really, really interesting imagery. This is quite different. It's very bright and bold, and I love the colors. They're just amazing. And I think that the colors are very, very different from traditional Rider-Waite. Like the traditional Rider-Waite imagery is very bold and flat coloring, and this is really vibrant and gets your imagination and your psychic senses really going. So this is something to have a look out for. It's all based on folklore and fairy tales and things like that. You know, it tells the story of the tarot through those, which I really love. I've got one more tarot deck that you will have seen me use, and this is another Chris Anne one. It's the Muse Tarot, and, you know, a lot of people have been using this for a long time, and I'm probably very late to this party. I've had it for a long time, but it's not one that I gelled with straight away. It is quite striking, like a little bit like Christina DeLuca's one. Chris Anne has reframed the traditional Rider-Waite. There's the High Priestess there, and the imagery is stunning. However, I found that I did not connect with it straight away, and it's taking me a long time to connect with it, and that's not always a bad thing. However, to do readings for people, I didn't want to feel like I didn't understand the deck, so I now use that particular one for doing quite deep shadow work, and the imagery really helps with that. Very, you know, primal, deep sort of feeling based imagery, which helps for all of those things when you kind of want a bit of a shock to your system. One more, which is the Crow Tarot, and you will have seen this in one of my last videos. If you want to see more about some of these particular decks, there'll be links in the description box below, and there'll be an older link, which is where I sort of flip through a bit more with my collection. But today I'm doing a different version of that. So I do love this one. It's very well used, but it doesn't come out for everybody. I find the imagery can be a little bit frightening and dark for some people. That doesn't stop me using it. However, I do find that it has a place, and it's not always imagery that people gel with. However, I love it. I love crows. Crows are one of my spirit animals, so I'm very in tune with it. Now, the next decks that I'm going to show you are decks that I use when I am working with clients again, but I need oracle cards and want to use oracle cards. And this is Spellcasting Oracle Cards by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Mickle John Free. Now, in the comments below, you'll see all of the names, because I'm sort of going through them without naming them, and I just don't want this video to be so long that, you know, it's just unwieldy. So these ones are really simple. We have a very simple word here. So they're really great for theme, you know, when you're working with themes. If a card comes up when you're working with tarot and you're like, well, yeah, I get that, but I don't understand. I need a little bit more information. How does the Judgment card relate in this reading? Then, you know, pull an oracle card to give you a bit more clarity sometime. Or sometimes I'll start with oracle cards in the readings because they give me a very clear, concise, you know, where we're going with this reading. Stephen D. Farmer's Power Animal Oracle cards. I really do love these. They're very, very simple and straight to the point, and that really does help in a reading. The imagery, you know, it's a bit, I suppose, a bit blah. Sorry, you can hear my dogs in the background. They're moving. I'm filming just in front of them today, so you may hear some noises. I apologise. But we've got the word, we've got, you know, a keyword, and then we've got a statement. And, you know, it doesn't always apply. You've got to still use your intuition when it comes with these. But I find that they're so simple that they just work for so many across the board. You know, when I'm doing a reading, they're just simple, gutsy, and they work. The next ones that I use a lot are at the back here, and this is the Sacred Forest Oracle by Denise Lynn. Hope you can see that there. And I love Denise Lynn. She is awesome. These cards are awesome. They are beautiful. They have, I know she didn't do the imagery, but the imagery just takes you in. You're, you know, guided away. They're quite simple again. Obviously, if you're using the guidebook with these, there's much more going on in there. However, you can use these and get to the point of things, and that's really what I'm using Oracle for these days. You know, when I first started with Oracle, I was more looking at the guidebook all of the time because, you know, I didn't trust my own intuition at that time. These are another Denise Lynn Oracle set or Oracle deck. Denise Lynn's Sacred Traveller, and I love these ones too. They've got a beautiful mandala on the back of them. And these are, you know, they're very simple in the sense that they've got some words at the top and then a statement down the bottom. Valiant, courage, take action with passion. And then, you know, they're very light imagery, fairy tale-ish looking. And sometimes this imagery doesn't necessarily take me somewhere, because I think that it's a little bit two-dimensional in a sense, not like the last one that I just showed you. However, the wording in this one, beneath the surface lies great bounty, I find that the wording is quite like it captures something. It gives you somewhere to go, and that's why you want different oracle decks in your collection, because they help you move you beyond something where you might be stuck at. You know, with this one, this does let you walk into it, right? Because we've got a pathway, we've got a vista, we've got things to look at, we've got a rainbow, we've got an archway, you know. So sometimes the artwork, again, there's another path. Sometimes the artwork leads you in and other times it does not. But for the most part, I'm very happy with these and I use them quite a lot. Next ones we have Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray. And I like Kyle Gray. His stuff is really great. And the back of these cards I really like too. Love the colouring. And these are based on, there's a lot of sort of native wisdom in these cards. Timing there is in here. We've got deities, angels, things like that. And the themes are quite broad that go through these cards. And to be honest, when I first got them, I didn't gel with them straight away, and I found that I needed to work with them. However, the more that I did work with them, the better I connected with them. So you might find that about some cards, that you buy them and you're not in love with them straight away. And some cards you might buy them just for one card, because this imagery on the front of this Kyle Grey is probably the thing that made me buy them, because it is so beautiful. I love all of that animal energy that's there. Yeah, just amazing. So, but not all of the cards have that. And so sometimes, like, there's sort of more simple cards, and then you've got the more dynamic cards. And I think I thought it was going to be all dynamic, but that's, you've got to adapt and find ways through to work with cards. Otherwise, they're not for you, and it's time to get rid of them. Another animal spirit deck here, Colette Barron reads the Spirit of Animal Oracle, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm a big fan of Colette Barron Reid. I've moved over a little bit so we can see some different imagery. And these cards are beautiful. The stock is really lovely. The imagery is really lovely. But again, I haven't always gelled with these cards either. I do keep them because I find that they are useful at times. However, I do have other animal spirit decks, and I probably would, use them over this one. I find this to be a bit simple, to be honest. But maybe I just haven't worked with it enough, because the imagery is really stunning. And she does cover a lot of animals here. So, these types of decks come in when, I don't know, when usually I sort of get a feeling that the person that's coming for a reading has a strong connection with animals. So I'll get those ones out. And these ones here are, I have a video of the Wisdom of the Oracle cards and talking about how to use Oracle cards. A very old favourite of mine, and I don't use this as much in my readings anymore. I've given it a rest, and I'm quite happy that I'm giving it a rest, but I do use it for myself now. But it's good to give things a rest sometimes, because, you get over them. You're not as in love with it as you were before. And so, yeah, the imagery of this, I suppose I just overused it for want of a better, lack of a better way of saying it. And I've got two more decks that I'll show you in the same sort of relevance. I've got the Enchanted Map by Colette Barron Reid, and these again were some of my favourites for such a long time that, again, I have overused them. So now they are being rested. I rarely use them. I do love them, but I am not using them with clients, and tell you the truth, I probably don't use them that much myself at the moment. However, I know that I just love this imagery, so I'm not ready to let them go yet. But I do particularly love this imagery. So if you haven't got these are a great beginner's Oracle card deck. Absolutely fantastic. Colette Barron Reid is a great maker of Oracle cards, particularly her first Oracle cards, because I don't know, I just have more of a connection to those. And this is another set, which is Wisdom of the Avalon. And if you like King Arthur and that Avalon energy, then these cards are really wonderful. Again, this imagery feels a bit dated now, because I don't know when they've been made actually. But the themes are still very prevalent, relevant, based on old divination systems, probably tarot. And yeah, there's a lot in here for you. Again, another good beginner's deck. So if you're looking for a beginner's deck to read, the things that I read with to use, the ones that I would call standout, this is a good one. I would definitely say Wisdom of the Oracle is probably my favorite for beginners. This Power Animal Oracle is quite good. However, when you're beginning, you probably want a bit more than is written here sometimes. This is another good one for beginners, The Sacred Forest Oracle by Denise Lynn. The Spellcasting Oracle, again, is fairly good, but I would probably, if I was going to buy for a beginner, I would choose the map, Enchanted Map or Wisdom of the Oracle. But those ones are the ones that I use all the time. They're my go-tos. Now, what I did was I decided to break this up into 3 parts. So you have just finished watching my reading collection. So what I use for my private readings with people, either on Zoom or in person. I also do a type of psychic art. So if you're looking for something different, then that is also there. And the link is in the description box below to book your own private reading. The next 2 videos, one is all about mostly oracle cards that I use for personal use. And then the last one is a group of oracle and tarot that I have in my collection that I really need to look at why I still have it. And if you're interested in that, then check out that last video. Thanks for being here. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel for more like this. Bye for now.